The weight of our words, what a late-night joke, and a frightening weekend are quietly teaching all of us. Something happened in America recently that has nothing to do with politics, even though it looked political on the surface. A late-night comedian made a joke about a first lady. 2 days later, a gunman opened fire near the president and the first lady at a public event. By the time the dust settled, the country was arguing about comedy, free speech, and blame, but the deeper lesson got buried underneath all the shouting. The deeper lesson is older than any news cycle. It is something every parent, every teacher, and every person of faith has heard since childhood. Words carry weight, and when the weight of a word lands at the wrong moment, it can break something that is very hard to put back together. So here is the question worth sitting with today. When was the last time you really thought about what your words were doing, not just what they were saying? The world we live in has forgotten how words work. We live in a time where words are cheap and constant. They scroll past us by the thousands every day. We type them, post them, retweet them, joke about them, fire them off in anger, and forget them by the time we go to sleep. But the words do not forget us. They keep living in the people who heard them. A joke that seemed harmless in a writer's room can land like a stone in a marriage. A comment fired off in frustration at work can sit in a coworker's chest for a year. A whispered judgment about a neighbor can change how a child sees that family forever. None of those moments feel powerful when they happen. That is exactly why they are so easy to miss. Have you ever been on the receiving end of a careless word that you can still remember years later? That memory is proof of a lesson. Words live longer than we expect them to. The trouble is not comedy or politics. It is carelessness. It would be easy to pick a side in the latest news story and say one person was right and the other was wrong. But the real teaching is harder than that. The real teaching is that all of us, left, right, religious, secular, famous, ordinary, have grown comfortable saying things we would never have said 20 years ago. We have collectively dialed up the volume and dialed down the care. This is not about jokes being off limits. It is about the difference between a word that builds something and a word that breaks something. A wise person learns to feel that difference before speaking, not after. What if the loudest voices in our culture started asking one simple question before opening their mouths? Will this word build, or will this word break? That single habit could change a household. It could change a workplace. It could change a country. The habit that changes everything. Here is the practical part. Building the habit of careful speech is not about becoming silent or boring or afraid of every sentence. It is about becoming present. Most careless words come from being on autopilot, reacting, performing, posting, venting, without ever pausing to feel the weight of what is being said. A few small habits make all the difference. Pause for one breath before responding when you feel emotion rising. That one breath has saved more relationships than any apology ever has. Before you criticize someone publicly, ask whether you would say the same thing if they were standing in front of you with their family beside them. The honest answer changes most messages before they ever get sent. When you talk about people who are not in the room, talk about them the way you would want to be talked about. This is the oldest teaching in the world for a reason. It still works. And when you slip, because every person does, say so. A simple, "I should not have said that," is one of the most powerful sentences in any language. It costs nothing and heals so much. A quiet reminder for loud times. The truth is, we cannot control what anyone in the news says. We cannot control what a comedian, a politician, or a stranger online chooses to put into the world. But we can control the words that leave our own mouths today. We can decide whether to add more weight to a heavy world or to set down a small, steady kindness in the middle of all the noise. That is the part the news will never cover. It is also the part that actually changes things. So here is a question to carry with you this week. If every word you spoke for the next 7 days was written down and read aloud, what kind of person would the world meet? The answer is not meant to make anyone feel guilty. It is meant to remind every one of us that we are still in charge of our own voice, no matter how loud the world becomes. Dr. San Jose is grateful for every viewer who takes time to sit with these honest reflections. If something in this article spoke to your heart, please subscribe to the channel and follow on Facebook. There is always more on the way, content that asks the real questions and offers the real answers. Thank you for being here.